The Genesis Coupe is a very fun, fairly practical, and fairly economical sports car. In my opinion, it's extremely underrated. However, there are a few things after owning this car for about a year that really got on my nerve. So without further ado, I'm going to go through the top 5 things I hate about my 2013 Genesis Coupe. Number 5. The traction control system in this car. It is an extremely intrusive system, in the sense that once it senses just the slightest bit of wheel spin, it will completely cut power for about half a second. That really gets on my nerve, especially when it starts to get cold outside and the tires don't grip as much as they would in the summer. So, as a point of reference, I just completely turn the traction control system off every time I turn on the car. Speaking of which, that's another point of contention I have with this car. It doesn't remember the last setting you had. So every time you get out of the car or take the key off the car, it will completely reset to having the traction control system on. So just as a point of reference, I turn the car on, click the traction control system off, and then get ready to go. And it's just become a habit. Number 4, the lack of a limited slip differential. And before many of you start to get on me and say, hey listen, this car does come with a limited slip differential. It does. The problem with that is that it's only available on the track edition cars, which don't feature leather seats like my car has, and does not have a sunroof. Those 2 things that I just mentioned are really on the top of my list when I look for a car. I really enjoy opening the sunroof up every day in the summer, and having leather seats just makes it so much easier to care for, keep clean, not to mention that they look much better. So I wish Hyundai would come up with a way to get a car with a limited slip differential, a sunroof, as well as leather seats in one package, as opposed to having to buy one or the other. Number 3. Now, while the trunk space in this car is actually quite ample for a sports car, there is a flaw with the way that Hyundai designed its trunk. The problem is that when you go to close the trunk, there are tiny little latches that actually fall back and can actually invade and potentially squish any tall cargo that you have in the trunk. So this could potentially be a problem if you have luggage, or in my case, when I go to put my backpack in there with my laptop, I'm always having to worry about, hey, did I put it in a spot that when I close the trunk, is it going to completely wreck it and squish it? Or no, it's in a safe area. What Hyundai could have easily done is they could have created a separate little slot that takes away from the available cargo space, but gives the user safety in the sense that they don't have to worry about their cargo being completely damaged, squished, or totaled. Number 2 on this list is actually the aftermarket support, or lack thereof. The problem with it is that there are not too many vendors that actually build stuff for the Genesis Coupe. For example, if you want to go tune your car, you actually have to take the ECU out of your car, ship it to 2 available companies such as BTR or SFR in order to get a canned tune. Or you could drive thousands of miles and go to their location and get a proper dyno tune. There isn't anything like a Cobb off-the-shelf tune where you can just plug it into the ODB2 port and be on your way. And finally, my number 1 complaint about my Genesis Coupe is this damn manual transmission. As a little bit of background, I think that if you own a supercar, you should go for the dual clutch. Why? Because it's out there for the last tenth of a second, it's cutting edge, and just allows you to shift flawlessly every single time. However, if you're buying a sports car, you want the most fun. And quite frankly, a dual clutch transmission is not as fun as a manual transmission. So, as a result, I opted to go for a manual transmission in my Genesis Coupe. However, there are a few problems with mine, and albeit Hyundai has done a very, very good job in improving these transmissions over the course of their 6 years in existence, but there are still a couple of flaws with my manual transmission. Here's the first one. If you go and try to shift into 6th gear above 35 to 4,000 RPMs, it makes the worst grind. So fair warning, just lower the volume if you don't want to hear a terrible grind. So here we go, 5,000. Terrible. I hate that sound. So I have an appointment on Wednesday to take it into the Hyundai dealership to fix. And apparently it's just a warranty issue. It's kind of a known issue again on the forums. It's not something you can do to the car. It just, it happens. The other thing is going from 1 to 2. So let's say you're out in Mexico with a couple of your buddies and are trying to, launch the car or do a quick 1 to 2 shift. You may actually get completely locked out and just grind. Now, it doesn't matter where you are in the RPM, where you depress the clutch to, it's just at random. It'll sometimes happen 2 or 3 times in a row, or, it'll happen never throughout the course of a night. You just never know. People have tried to change out the transmission fluid, the clutch fluid in order to try and resolve it, but it's a problem with the transmission. Sometimes it doesn't feel like shifting into gear 2, and you're just at the mercy of the car. So, hopefully with my new transmission, it doesn't have that 1 to 2 flaw, but for now, this one has it, and So I hope you guys enjoyed the top 5 things I hate about my Genesis Coupe. It is really a great car, and I really would recommend it. These 5 things are just, quirks. There are a ton of things I love about this car, and a video is to follow this one about the top 5 things I love about my Genesis Coupe. So thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.